he was. Jake, do you want to talk about Dennis Farina a little bit? Because I know you brought him up.
Yeah, it was just he's another example. I think one of the best parts of New Girl, apart from everybody, in the cast and our crew, was our guest stars. I couldn't believe how many home runs we got on that show. And Farina was one of them, where we would get a really great mix of, we kind of got everybody on that show. Looking back, it's so crazy how many people were willing to guest on a Fox show.
I know.
If you look at our guest star list of that show from top to bottom, it is madness. But my favorite part about Farina was how much he hated Max. It was,
He was not a fan.
Really? Is that real?
He hated him in a not funny way, in like a scary, mean old Chicago guy way. And, we worked a lot of hours and we were all pretty fried. And so we were in our tone of being ridiculous, and we continued it around Dennis Farina. And that old boy wasn't having that stuff, man. He almost beat the crap out of me.
I think he made like he drew a really hard line. Like, I know I'm going to have scenes with Jake, so I'm going to forgive him. He's my son, and I'm going to preserve this relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm going to then just, I'm such a fan. And I'm so upset that it turned the way that it did.
What did you, Max, what did you do? Was it like immediate, or was there something that you did?
It was immediate. It wasn't
Max,
great.
tell the story.
This is a humiliating story. And, it's really Jake's fault, and I'll tell you why. So, everything was going fine with Dennis and I was such a big fan for Midnight Run and all his work, and we were talking about everything.
It wasn't going fine. When
it was. Please don't interrupt.
Sorry.
It was going fine, and then he started talking about his police work. He was I believe a detective in Chicago before he had transitioned into acting, and he was talking about having to do surveillance. And Jake and I, 17 hours into a day, we're going, hey man, I wonder if when you're doing surveillance to each other, I wonder if you're doing surveillance, you just see random weird sex stuff that has nothing to do with the case. And Jake was like, totally. And so Jake goes,
oh gosh,
I think I should ask him. And I go, I think that's a really bad idea. I promise you that's not a good thing. And Big Brother Jake was like, no, come on, I'm going to ask. Max, I got this. I'm going to go ask him. I think it's a really terrible idea. So he rounds the corner and goes right towards the entrance of 4D, and there's Dennis. And at this point, again, the vibe is fine. And Jake goes, hey, Dennis, question. Then looks back at me goes, you're doing surveillance. You ever see I don't know, just random people doing weird sex stuff? And immediately you could see how deeply offended he was by this question and how truly fucked we were. And Jake.
But why did he blame you?
Well, I'll tell you, because Jake's instinct in that moment was to go, because Max wanted to know. and then to make it worse, Jake sold me out so hard, so immediately, that my reaction was to die laughing. But I was laughing at the fact that Jake had just sold me out. And I think Dennis is like, these idiots, and especially this moron. And then I was like, okay, well, I hope he wasn't that offended by it. And then we did the scene, and he comes in, and I don't know whether he was off camera or on camera, and he looked into my eyes in the scene with a line that was not supposed to be intense or menacing at all, and delivered it directly to me, full eye contact, as if I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Was it?
I don't remember, but truly one of the scariest moments of my life. And then later on, I tried to smooth it out with him and like make light of it. And
I'm sure that didn't go well.
Olivia Munn was in the episode and we were all hanging out outside. And I think, he was charmed by Olivia, and Olivia was out there, and we were all joking. And I like threw out like another joke about something randomly. And then he in some way thought that I was bringing Olivia into my infantile behavior, and didn't like that at all. And it was very clear that Dennis and I weren't going to have a relationship.
Him and I had a great relationship. I genuinely don't think he ever looked me in the eye. Oh.